Hi and welcome to In the Front Row, all things reactions, reviews and interviews. My name's Jamie Lee and today I'll be doing a review of the first 3 episodes of Paramount Plus's new TV series called School Spirits. If you've been to my channel before, you might have seen that I've done a trailer reaction to this in the past. I really thought I'd like it because Peyton List is in it and obviously I love Cobra Kai and I love Peyton List. So I'm really proud of her for venturing out of her Disney origins, I guess you could say, into genres like horror, comedy, and this one I guess you could class it as a thriller or a drama series. It's technically classed as a YA, which I learned the other day is young adult drama series, which is probably why I like it, because I'm a young adult. Emphasis on the young there. Anyway, I'm a sucker for these type of shows because I love things like The Kissing Booth. I love things like To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Sex Education, and I know a lot of that's pretty much like rom-coms or like romance movies, I guess. But if you add crime and thriller to that, I enjoy that as well. Like Vampire Diaries, I guess you could class as that, and also season 1 of Riverdale. Very specific on the season 1 of Riverdale there. But it gives me these sorts of vibes when I watch the trailer, so I really thought that I'd like the series. So Paramount Plus have dropped the first 3 episodes of this on their platform, and the series wastes no time in setting up the premise for this. We will be following Maddie Nears, a high school student who goes on this investigative journey in the afterlife to piece together how she got there and maybe who put her there. Thankfully, but also sadly, she has an afterlife tour guide named Charley, played by Pugliese, who guides her through this initial stage of the in-between. Charley introduces her to the afterlife support group, which includes students such as Wally, played by Milo Manheim, and a teacher, Mr. Martin, played by Josh Zuckerman, who are all trapped in this afterlife together, who haven't yet been able to move on to the next phase, whatever comes after life and then whatever comes after death. What's really unique about this afterlife support group is the fact that even though they all died at the same place, they all died at the school, each of them died in different eras of time. So that allows for like fun flexibility with the costumes, because we all know that fashion has changed over time, and with the dialogue, because society itself has changed over time. For example, Charley talks with Maddie about the struggles he had being gay and the fact that he was never allowed to have a boyfriend in the time that he grew up in. And then Rhonda, played by Yarkin, she's the real rebel of the group. She was killed by her guidance counselor, and when she's talking to Maddie about that, she says something like, "What, are you gonna write a blog about it?" Trying to be sarcastic, and Maddie's like, "We don't blog anymore, like that takes too long, we've got other methods now." So you can just tell from the dialogue that times have changed from when Rhonda was at school or Charley was at school to the present day when Maddie disappeared. So the fact that they're all from different periods in time, it makes their stories more intriguing and more interesting than the characters already are. Anyway, back to Maddie. She can't remember how she died. She can't remember who killed her. No body has been found, but there's blood splattered all across the boiler room of the school. This is completely different and unique to every other member of the support group because they all remember how they died, and if they were murdered, they remember who by. As the group have been stranded at the school for whoever knows how long, they know the ghost ground rules, I guess you could say, and they run through them with Maddie. How it works is that you can't physically leave the school. Each time that you go past a certain boundary, you just get reset back to the spot of your death, and they can't communicate, touch, or impact the living world. So there was a poster on the wall, Maddie ripped it off, and then you can see in the present day that the poster's still on the wall even though she's got it in her hand. So she doesn't make an impact on the living from the afterlife, which of course is isolating, frustrating, and really upsetting to watch. Maddie struggles with accepting this, so she tries to reach out to her friends, but she has no luck. She tries to reach out to her shady boyfriend, Xavier, played by Macpherson, again with no luck, but eventually she gets through to her best friend Simon, played by Kristian Flores. Simon helps Maddie from the living side to find clues and evidence to piece together what might have happened with her disappearance. Meanwhile, in the afterlife side, Maddie tries to piece together all her memories with her friends in the afterlife to try and figure out how she got there. The more that each of them uncover, the more of an insight we get into how twisted Maddie's life is, her past, and her disappearance. We learn that her shady boyfriend is cheating on her with the head cheerleader Claire, played by Wedell, that her mother's an alcoholic who struggles to care for her, and that she relied heavily upon a teacher at the school called Mr. Anderson, played by Gilmore. The more they uncover, the more everybody becomes a suspect. You're not sure if someone's a friend or if they could have done this to her, but piece by piece we get closer to finding out the truth about what happened to Maddie Nears. So I gotta say, I am enjoying this series so far. I know I said before that it was a young adult series, but technically they're in high school. So let's just call it a teen series, right? So you would expect all those stereotypical teenage tropes that you get in lots of other series. And they're in this, sure, but there's not a lot of emphasis on them. Like, for example, Xavier is the bad boy that does drugs, but that's nothing more than a line of dialogue. He cheats on his girlfriend with the head cheerleader, but there's never any emphasis on the cheerleading or the cattiness and fights between the two girls. Xavier and Maddie kiss, but there's no partying, there's no sex. It's not the typical teenage high school experiences that we're used to seeing on screen. And don't get me wrong, I'm down with seeing that stuff on the screen, but this series just goes deeper. It addresses issues like alcoholism, acceptance, life goals, dealing with friendships, and ultimately death. Sometimes the pacing to do with Maddie's death seems a little slow going, but it never is boring or feels dragged out because you've always got them other characters, the other members of the support group who've got their own death experiences and their own experiences in the afterlife who guide Maddie through that. And their stories sort of fill in the gaps, I guess you could say, until we find the next clue or the next suspect in her disappearance. Peyton List shines as Maddie. She conveys so many real and relatable emotions in this. She really is the heart and soul of the show. The other actors in this series that I've mentioned earlier as well, they give really good performances to the point where you're constantly second guessing who truly is a friend, who could be a suspect, and the whole time you're just sitting on edge, or you just have that suspenseful feeling of, you know, how do we solve this mystery and who could have done it? From a technical perspective, I thought it was shot really well. There were times where they used different camera angles to change things up a little bit. And when we were out in the woods at nighttime and it was really dark, it was easy to watch. And then they'd contrast that with, you know, a different scene during the day, like a fun scene where it was bright and the sun was out and there was the colors of the school and they were burning things and just having a lot of fun with color and light in contrast to the dark night and the gloomy sort of atmosphere that they were trying to give off in other scenes. I also really liked how they distinguish between the past and the present, something that's currently happening to something that was a memory. When it was a memory, they faded out background objects or people and they distorted the sound, so the background voices were sort of fading out and it just all looked like sort of a dream-like sequence. It looked really good. Now, I specifically remember in the trailer that I really enjoyed the score to this. The music made me feel on edge because it was creepy, it was mysterious, there was like whispers and stuff. I really enjoyed it. But in the series, the music is actually quite off-putting. There's times where you're supposed to have this really emotional scene and it starts off the music being emotional and then at the end it sort of picks up and I'm sitting there thinking, is something about to happen? Like, is there something coming next? And nothing comes next. It's just that the music doesn't fit that scene, or it should have been cut earlier, or I don't know, but it's just very off-putting that some of the songs that are in this don't really match what's happening in the shot. And when I say nothing happens, sometimes I mean literally. It will just fade to black and then cut open in a new scene. And I think, what a wasted opportunity. You could have had a cool transition there instead of just being so blunt and fading off to nothing and into a new scene. And there were times when they did use cool transitions. There was a scene there where in the past, Maddie exits through the doors and in them same doors in the present, Xavier's walking through. So something like that to transition between shots is really easy to watch. It makes it really easy to watch and not so sort of, I don't even know if blunt's the word that I'm looking for, but basically it's disjointed, I guess you could say. That's some of the vibes that I got off when there wasn't a transition between some scenes, when it just faded to black and just cut out. Despite those technical changes that I would suggest, not that I have any right to suggest anything because I'm not a filmmaker, but I just feel like that would make the series flow a little bit better, a little bit more fluently. Despite that though, I'm loving these episodes so far. I'm loving uncovering Maddie's past. I'm loving questioning the mystery and the suspense about her disappearance. And I'm constantly thinking about, is she dead? Will she get closure? If she does get closure, what happens to the afterlife support group? Did they move on? Did they get their closure as well? How are we going to close this season? And are we going to get a second season, which I'm hoping that we definitely do, because I love the cast. I love the premise. I think it's a really good series. And I definitely think it's worthy of a second season. So there's that for my other suggestion. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel and then head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well, please. If you're watching this series, let me know in the comments section, because I feel like I'm the only one that's even talking about this series, apart from one other friend that I've got, Pete. He's watching it as well because he's a big Cobra Kai fan. Anyone else? I I talk about and they're like, huh? Haven't heard of it. So I'm really curious. If you're watching it, let me know in the comment section as well. And then, yeah, head on over to my Instagram, give me a follow over there, sub to me here. All right, have a sweet day. Bye.